What's going on, guys? I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I talked about the sad news. Yet another school shooting out there in Nashville, Tennessee. Antioch High School was the name of the school, and two people died. One is the shooter, and another one is a 16-year-old girl by the name of Jocelyn Escalante. May she rest in peace. And more information came out. I mean, they've been dropping information hourly. And this is a truly disturbing case. What makes this thing so messed up is I'm going to show you a series of videos. And I want you to pay attention to each one of them because they're all different, but I lined them up to where you could see this progressing. The last video I show you is supposedly about this manifesto that this boy, Solomon Henderson, 17-year-old shooter, wrote. And what's crazy about this seemed like an intelligent young man. And he had a motive and he had an agenda he wanted to achieve. And it's scary because I want you guys to start paying attention. It seems like it's this underground network of people that are thrilled or enamored with school shooters at a young age. And a lot of times it speaks a lot about a disconnect between them and their parents. And what you're about to hear, let me just jump into it. What you're about to hear, the way he talked, the way he seemed like he acted in the manifesto and all this other stuff that they said he did. I wonder if anybody even seen the signs or cared to look for him, because something was obviously wrong with this young man. Take a look.
Now to new developments in the tragedy in Tennessee today. The victim of the Antioch school shooting just identified here tonight as 16-year-old Jocelyn Escalante. Her family saying they are just devastated, but also here calling for more school security on that campus. They describe her as kind and loving. Police also today just identifying the alleged shooter in this case as 17-year-old Solomon Henderson. Now, officials say he arrived at that school by bus, went into a school bathroom, came out with a pistol, then started firing around the cafeteria. He then later turned the gun on himself.
When I heard her running and I heard the anxiety and the anxiousness in her voice, that is something I can't get out of my head.
Police now say they are looking into this possible manifesto shared on a social media account that appears to be connected to that suspect.
We want to point out a large portion of the Antioch community is made up of Hispanic families. Our Patsy Montesinos is with us now. Patsy, you actually spoke with the family of the 16-year-old victim. Heartbroken, I'm sure. What did they tell you?
Yes, earlier today I spoke with her aunt, and just in the last hour I've spoken to her dad, German Cortez. He was Jocelyn Correas Escalante's father. They are still at the hospital, and as everyone can imagine, just beyond devastated and in disbelief. He says Jocelyn always brought home good grades and played soccer. She was kind and loving. He tells me Jocelyn was an older sister, but still daddy's little girl.
Muchísimo, todos los días yo le decía a mi hija, la quiero mucho.
In Spanish, German is telling me every day I told her how much I loved her. He said that when he sent her to school today, he never imagined she wouldn't come home. Now the family is asking for more security in the school. They say it's always the same story when any school shooting happens, that nothing ever changes.
So brave of him to even speak with you, but I know perhaps helps in the healing just to share a little bit of what he's feeling.
He says he already had concerns, and that is one of the reasons he is speaking up, is because he wants to see change and he doesn't want this to keep happening.
No one does. Patsy, thanks.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to News 2 at 6. I'm Bob Mueller. Officials identified the shooter as Solomon Henderson, a 17-year-old student at the high school, but they are still searching for a motive. News 2's Haley Wogas is joining us live tonight near Antioch High School with the latest information. Haley?
Bob, a spokesperson for Vanderbilt University Medical Center, tells us one female student was killed. A male student was grazed in the arm. And then there was one other student who did receive an eye injury related to this incident, but it was not a gunshot wound. As for the suspect, our crews are outside of his home where there is a large law enforcement presence. News 2's Kenley Hargett is there live tonight. He's joining us live from outside that home. Now, Kenley, you saw some law enforcement officers go into the suspect's home, and you saw them speak with a neighbor as well.
Yes, Haley, that's exactly what I saw. And just literally seconds ago, they just left with several boxes full of different things that they collected from inside this home right here on Carefree Lane in Antioch. This is the home right here where they had more than a dozen law enforcement officers outside here. They had boxes coming out as well, several crews, the whole street with unmarked cars, just the whole neighborhood just very shocked to see this kind of thing happening in their community. I spoke to a young girl who actually is a neighbor of the suspect.
It was kind of a regular day. The lunch bell had just rang, and we had just gotten into the lunch. I sat down at the end of a table, and everybody was just getting up to go get their lunch. And then I just kind of looked over to my side. He was at the end of the table. His backpack was hanging off one of his arms, and he kind of reached for something, pulled it out, and just started shooting. I quickly ran out, but I did see some girl fall.
Was there a confrontation or anything between the two, or did he just...
No, he just pulled out the gun and just started shooting.
And immediately, what went through your mind, ma'am, when you...
I thought I was gonna die.
Yes, and reporting live right back here again at the house where the suspect lived. Again, law enforcement had several boxes of evidence that they combed through this entire house. They've been out here for about 2 hours now as well, seeing what they can find inside this house to get more answers into why this shooting happened. Reporting live here in Antioch, Kenley Hargett, News 2.
Metro Nashville police later identifying the shooter as Solomon Henderson, a student at Antioch High School. News Channel 5 investigative reporter Jennifer Krause has been working to learn more about him. Jennifer, what did you find out?
Well, Rory, we have a copy of what purports to be a manifesto that was posted on social media on an account that appears to belong to Henderson. This was posted shortly before the shootings, along with several photos which match the crime scene photos that we have seen. What is in here is extremely disturbing and chilling. It's horrifying. As you can see, it's thick. It's 51 pages long, filled with text as well as pictures. It starts with the title, "The West Has Fallen, Billions Must Die." He says, "This book is dedicated to killing everyone I hate. Death to all unworthy men, traitors, and infiltrators." It appears that he was radicalized. He is heavily anti-Semitic in here, says death to Israel, blames Jews for so many things, that they are, quote, poisoning our culture and rap, that violence against Jews should happen, retaliation and retribution for what they have stolen is legitimate and a good thing, he writes. There are many other racial and ethnic slurs in here. The N-word is used extensively throughout. But he says, "I am ashamed to be black." He posts a flyer from the neo-Nazi hate group Goyim Defense League. That group, you may remember, was here in Nashville last summer holding demonstrations. Then he posts a series of questions and answers, such as, would killing random high schoolers save the white race or something? And he answers, yes, if they were people of color. He writes, are you a victim of bullying? He says, I can't remember a single instance of being bullied personally, but says the media and attention seekers will say that I was, and other BS, like he was just a quiet kid. He writes, why did you attack a school? He doesn't specifically answer that one, but then goes on to describe the various people who should be targeted. A long list of people, from presidents to journalists and children. Among the people who he says radicalized him, he cites Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes, a hard-right anti-Semitic pundit who you may remember was here in Nashville again for those neo-Nazi attacks. He writes, do you plan to survive the attack? He writes, I plan on going. out as a hero by blowing my brains with my gun while live streaming. And this is particularly disturbing because we saw a video posted this morning on this same X account purportedly belonging to him that shows video labeled as a test. He includes a map of the school. Under the heading, My Gear, Weapons, and Clothing, there's a photo of the gun and cartridges that match the photos of the gun that were also posted on that same account shortly before the shootings. There's a photo of a lock-picking kit. He also pays tribute to people he modeled his attack after and lists half a dozen people who committed mass murders. And finally, he closes with what he calls final remarks. What's interesting is that these are dated November 18th of 2024, meaning he'd been thinking about this for a while. And he writes, I was so miserable, I wanted to kill myself. I just couldn't take any more. He includes a list of various social media accounts that he says were his. Many have now been suspended. At least one we found included a link to instructions on how to carry out a mass killing. Again, this appears to be his, but nothing specifically on any of the social media accounts or this says Solomon Henderson. Perhaps, though, because he includes a warning in here, Rory, that includes the words that say feds are cracking down. So never post your face, where you live, never post, and I mean any personal information about yourself whatsoever. I have, Carrie, reached out to Metro Police to ask them if they can confirm, acknowledge, or any comment to this, and I am waiting to hear back.
All right, guys, that's the news, man, and I got to be honest with you, that's scary. What's scary about it is two things, might be a third. First thing is this young man that did this shit, just like the rest of these kids that do that type of stuff, they have some type of anger built up inside of them that they can't release. And I'm more than sure a lot of the stuff they're going through, they don't share with their parents because it said in the manifesto, and it's always some damn manifesto. It's like a blueprint that these kids follow every time leading up to them doing what they do. Seemed like he had a disconnect with reality. And I understand having a young mind and trying to figure things out, and you're close to adulthood and don't know back from front. High school can be cruel. You understand what I'm saying? Bullying, all type of stuff. Now, he said he wasn't bullied, but I mean, sometimes you can't make the problems of the world your problem. This guy upset, saying all that stuff. And I got to be honest with you, man. I mean, this is crazy. Either he's super intelligent, which may be possible, which I think he was, or he just following the guideline and he done read some material that he was exposed to that warped his mind. This guy talking about neo-Nazis and all this stuff. Obviously, dude, a black dude, you talking about neo-Nazis and killing the Jews and something with rap and this and that. There are different ways of getting your point across. You don't have to go kill random people. You had a problem with Jews, but you killed the Spanish girl. Make it make sense. I'm going to go to school and kill everybody I hate. Let me tell you something. You're going to have people that you don't like your whole life, bro. Get used to it. The second thing that bothers me about this is these kids that are doing this are looking up to people that have done this before them, like as if they're pioneers in changing history, and it's never the effect you think it is. See, history don't remember faces, it only remembers names. And a lot of times these people that you see do this feel like they're nobodies and they do this, they'll always be remembered in history. But if somebody to sit up there and just commit total carnage and then turn the gun on themselves after pulling the trigger on somebody else and seeing what the damage that the gun does, to shoot themselves and ready to do it, sounds terroristic to me. It does. I'm going to go out here, hurt a bunch of people, and then kill myself at the end. Makes no sense. But this is the reality that's out here right now. You got kids willing to go all out. Don't care if they hurt their families or whatever. Did you look? Not thinking about the aftermath and the shame that's brought on your family. They're running up in the damn kid's house. It's not even his house, it's his parents' house. Now you got cops, a bunch of publicity, negative publicity. Parents getting blamed. What did you do wrong to where your child went out and did this? And that's the thing. Sometimes these kids come from well-to-do homes, but they just turn out bad or get exposed to something and it changes their whole mindset, and things like this happen. One person shot from his gun. Jocelyn Escalante, 16-year-old girl, Spanish girl, she shot, dies. He shoots himself, fired a couple of other shots. Somebody got an eye injury. Somebody else got grazed. This is crazy. And I think there is a lot of people, they behind closed doors idolize serial killers and want to be a serial killer. There are a lot of other people that want to be mass shooters, and you're seeing it. You're seeing it en masse, and they really need to get to the bottom of this, of what's causing this type of stuff. You could blame parenting all you want, but sometimes it's not like that. If you look at some of these school shooters, the houses they come from, the areas they live in, they're well-to-do areas. You don't really see this type of stuff in ghetto type of areas. You see this stuff in areas where it's a lot of freedoms extended to kids, and they can do a lot of things to get their mind off of what they feel rather than internalize and go out and do stuff to other people that ain't got nothing to do with their cause or them feeling a certain way. I wonder if the family even seen the signs. Because, you know, a lot of times when kids get where they teenagers, they want their privacy. They feel as though their parents ain't cool, or they don't like things, that they don't want to talk. They're used to getting yelled at a lot of times, and they internalize a lot of stuff until, you know, it explodes on somebody else. Like I said, man, may Jocelyn Escalante rest in peace. You know, sometimes you can't save kids. They'll jump in the fire even though they know it's hot, and you tell them not to do it. I don't know what this young man's problem was, but I do know what he did didn't solve anything. He said he wanted to kill himself and all of that type of stuff in a thing. That's my thing. If you feel as though you want to hurt somebody and you get to that point where you can't take it no more, if you're going to pull the trigger, it sounds messed up. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to correct yourself. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm one of them people where I'm a deep thinker. And I always try to, you know, talk within myself to rationalize things I either don't understand or I'm trying to figure out. You know, life is hard for everybody. But I mean, there's outlets out there, there's help, there's this, there's that. And it's like, you know, one of the things I thought about when I was a kid was I didn't want to bring shame to the people that love me and support me in my endeavors. Nowadays, you don't see that. It's a big disconnect, and we got to bring everything together because we are losing everything out here. See you in the next video. Take care.